Welcome to the deep dive. So, you've given us some really interesting material this time, focusing on, well, the ongoing battle that is cybersecurity and these data breaches that just keep happening.
Yeah, it seems like it's constantly in the news, doesn't it?
It really does. And our goal here is to, get past the headlines, really understand what's going on, and maybe figure out what we can learn about keeping sensitive info safe.
Especially now, with organizations holding just vast amounts of valuable data, they're prime targets.
Absolutely. And the cybercriminals, they're definitely getting smarter.
Yeah.
Speaking of smart security, this deep dive is supported by Stonefly. They're leaders in enterprise storage, backup, DR, AI storage, cloud solutions, the whole package.
hmm
And if you're looking for that really secure, ransomware-proof storage, think air-gapped systems, totally isolated, or immutable storage that can't be altered, Stonefly's got it. You can reach their team at sales@stonefly.com for a demo.
It's a good point because the stakes just keep getting higher. I mean, the sheer amount of digital information out there creates so many potential targets.
More targets and attackers using more sophisticated methods. It's
Yeah, it really is.
okay. Let's jump into a pretty stark example. This recent data security incident at Kelly Benefits.
Right, the benefits administration and payroll firm.
Exactly. They had someone unauthorized in their systems for about 5 days last December 12th to 17th, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And what's striking is the kind of information that might have been exposed, and also how the story evolved.
Tell me about it. The initial estimate back in early April was around, what, 32,000 people affected?
Right. But then, just a month later, early May,
The number just skyrockets, over 413,000 individuals.
it's a massive jump. And it just shows, how hard it can be to get a full picture right after something like this happens.
Definitely. The initial assessment is often just the tip of the iceberg.
And think about the data involved. We're
Mhm.
talking names, social security numbers, tax IDs, birth dates.
Medical info, health insurance details, even financial account numbers. It's basically everything an identity thief could want.
Precisely. That PII, personally identifiable information, it's gold for criminals. It can be used for all sorts of fraud.
So Kelly Benefits, they finished reviewing the affected files around early March and then started sending out notification letters in April.
Mm.
And the list of clients impacted is pretty long, right? Some big names.
Yeah, Aetna, Emergis, CareFirst, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Guardian Life, United Healthcare, lots of others.
It really drives home that point about interconnectedness, doesn't it? A vulnerability at one service provider.
Can cascade outwards. It affects all their clients and then all their employees or members. It's a huge ripple effect.
That reliance on third-party vendors is efficient, sure, but it adds layers of risk.
Absolutely. Your security is only as strong as the weakest link in that chain. You have to trust, but also verify your vendor's practices.
And predictably, the legal side is kicking into gear. We're hearing about law firms investigating potential class action suits.
Yeah, that's pretty standard now. The
Yep.
main questions are usually, was the company negligent? Did they do enough to protect the data? Did they violate regulations like APA for health info or the FTC Act?
It reflects that growing expectation, doesn't it? If you hold our data, you better protect it.
Exactly. There's a fundamental responsibility there. And the costs, both financial and reputational, can be enormous if you fail.
Now, Kelly Benefits is offering 12 months of free credit monitoring and identity protection.
Which is a common and necessary step, really.
Right, and they're urging people to be vigilant, check credit reports, watch their accounts. They set up a dedicated phone line, too. If you were affected, definitely take them up on that monitoring.
For sure. But while those reactive steps are important, this whole incident really highlights the need for proactive defense, doesn't it?
Totally. So maybe let's shift gears and look at that. What should organizations be doing? I know the Department of Labor's Employee Benefits Security Administration, EBSA, has guidelines.
Yeah, they do. And while they're aimed at employee benefit plans, the principles are really universal for anyone handling sensitive data. They offer a solid framework.
A blueprint, almost. They've got, what, 12 key best practices?
That's right. It covers the whole life cycle.
Okay, so the first one sounds foundational. Have a formal, documented cybersecurity program. Not just tools, but a whole strategy.
Exactly. Identifying risks, protecting assets, detecting incidents, responding, recovering, disclosing. It's comprehensive. It needs things like data governance rules, access controls, business continuity plans, incident response protocols.
Encryption, training, it covers a lot. Basically, making security a core part of operations, not an add-on.
And getting sign-off from senior management annually, which
Yeah.
keeps it top of mind at the leadership level.
Makes sense. Okay, second, Prudent annual risk assessments, proactively looking for threats.
Yeah, identifying, evaluating, prioritizing those risks, and doing it annually because the threat landscape changes so fast.
What was minor last year could be major this year.
Okay. Then, number 3 is a reliable annual third-party audit. Get an independent set of eyes on your security controls.
Ah, so an outside expert checking for blind spots.
Precisely. It provides unbiased feedback and boosts confidence.
Fourth is clearly defining security roles and responsibilities. Who does what?
Right. You need clear leadership, qualified people doing the work, clear lines of accountability.
You can't just hope someone's handling it. Fifth, strong access controls.
This is huge. Authentication, authorization, limiting access to only what's needed, that principle of least privilege.
Regular reviews of who has access, strong passwords, and MFA, multi-factor authentication.
Definitely MFA wherever you can. That second key, like the code to your phone, is a major barrier for attackers.
Good point. Number 6 deals with cloud security and third-party vendors again. Security reviews, assessments, contractual protections.
Yeah, basically doing your due diligence on anyone else who handles your data and having clear agreements on what happens if they have a breach, like BSOC could be relevant with Kelly benefits.
Right. Number 7, cybersecurity awareness training, at least annually.
Crucial. Employees are often the first target, especially with phishing. Training helps them spot and avoid threats. Keep it updated.
The human firewall idea. Number 8, secure system development lifecycle, or SDLC. Building security in from the start.
Yep, not just bolting it on later.
Yeah.
Much more effective.
Number 9, an effective business resiliency program. So business continuity, disaster recovery, incident response, and testing it.
So you know your plans actually work when you need them. Minimizes disruption if something does happen.
Number 10, encrypting sensitive data, both when it's stored and when it's moving across networks.
Using current strong encryption standards, absolutely vital.
11, strong technical controls. This is the nuts and bolts, right? Firewalls, intrusion detection, antivirus.
Patch management, network segregation, system hardening, backups.
Right.
All those fundamental security layers. Keep everything up to date.
And finally, number 12, responsiveness to incidents. If a breach happens, act fast.
Inform law enforcement. Tell your insurers. Investigate thoroughly. Notify affected people quickly and critically fix the root cause.
Don't just patch the hole, figure out why it was there.
Exactly. Transparency and fixing the underlying issue are key to rebuilding trust and preventing repeats. If I had to pick the most critical, probably the overall documented program, the regular risk assessments, and that ongoing employee training. Those feel like the cornerstones.
That's a really solid list. A good roadmap for any organization, really.
It really is.
Okay, so that's the ideal. But what happens when things go wrong? Let's talk about the cost and impact. I saw some numbers from a 2024 cost of a data breach report. Pretty eye-watering.
They usually are. The average cost hit almost, what, $4.9 million in 2024?
$4.88 million. Yeah, a huge number. And it's even worse when it's employee PII involved.
Right. The cost per record for employee PII went up to $189. That adds up incredibly fast when thousands or hundreds of thousands of records are exposed.
And a lot of that cost comes from lost business, right? Downtime, customers leaving, reputation damage, plus the direct costs like fines and credit monitoring.
Absolutely. It's not just a line item. It can genuinely threaten a company's viability. Poor security is just too expensive a risk now.
The report also mentioned something about shadow data, increasing costs.
Yeah, that's data that's kind of floating around, maybe unmanaged, outside the main secure systems. Breaches involving that take longer and cost more to fix because it's harder to track down and contain.
So knowing where all your sensitive data is becomes critical.
Definitely. You can't protect what you don't know you have.
And we shouldn't forget the impact on the actual people whose data gets exposed. It's not just about money.
Not at all. There's a risk of identity theft, sure, but also the sheer time and stress involved in sorting things out and that loss of trust.
Yeah, remember that UKG breach in late 2023? Sensitive employee info accidentally shared. The anxiety that causes for people is immense.
It really is. A major breach of trust.
And the report said 70% of organizations had significant business disruption after a breach. High costs, slow recovery. It hits operations hard.
Which underlines why those business continuity plans we talked about are so important.
But there was some good news, too. the report showed that being proactive pays off. Things like regular security audits, MFA, data encryption, keeping systems updated.
All the things EBSA recommends. They measurably reduce the cost and impact of breaches when they do happen. It's an investment, not just an expense.
They also stressed employee training again, simulated phishing tests, data loss prevention tools, mandating 2FA.
And that zero-shame reporting culture, making it safe for employees to flag potential issues without fear.
That seems huge. Often an employee spots something first.
Absolutely. Encouraging them to speak up can make all the difference in catching something early.
And finally, things like having a solid incident response plan, knowing how to manage the breach lifecycle involving law enforcement in ransomware cases, even using AI and automation now to speed things up.
Yeah, the response side is getting more sophisticated too.
Right.
A well-rehearsed plan can significantly mitigate the damage.
It all just reinforces that everyone, organizations, and individuals needs to be proactive. Which brings us to, okay, what if your data is exposed? Specifically, let's say your social security number. What should you actually do?
Right, first things first, report the identity theft. Go to the FTC's website, identitytheft.gov. They have resources and can guide you.
Filing a police report might be a good idea, too. Creates an official record.
It can be helpful, yes. Then, critically, request a credit freeze with the three major bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax.
A freeze locks down your credit report so thieves can't easily open new accounts.
Exactly. It's a strong preventative measure. You could also place a fraud alert, which is less restrictive, but adds an extra verification step for creditors.
So freeze is stronger, fraud alert is another option. Got it.
And then you need to contact any companies where your SSN might have been misused. New creditors, existing ones, government agencies, medical providers. Let them know what happened.
Okay, those are the immediate steps. What about ongoing protection? How do you guard your social security number better in the future?
Well, regularly check your credit reports. You're entitled to free ones. Check your Social Security statements, too, for any weird earnings reported.
Don't carry your actual social security card around.
Please don't. Only give out the number when absolutely necessary. Ask why they need it. Shred documents with sensitive info.
Basic digital hygiene, too, right? Strong, unique passwords, MFA on everything you can.
Definitely. Avoid using public Wi-Fi for sensitive transactions. Maybe look into privacy scan services that help remove your info from data broker sites.
And consider identity theft protection services for ongoing monitoring.
It can provide peace of mind and early warnings. These are all good layers of defense.
Wow, okay. This has really covered a lot, from the specifics of a breach like Kelly benefits to the big picture best practices and what individuals can do.
It really highlights how crucial it is to understand both the threats and the preventative measures in today's world.
The Kelly benefits situation is just such a timely and frankly sobering example of what's at stake.
It is. Staying informed, being proactive,
Yeah.
it's not optional anymore. It's essential for protecting ourselves and holding organizations accountable.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is, what's one proactive step you can take, personally or professionally, based on what we've discussed, to boost your cybersecurity?
Good question to reflect on.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into cybersecurity. It's been really insightful.
My pleasure.
And a final reminder, this deep dive was brought to you in part by Stonefly, a leader in enterprise storage, backup and disaster recovery, AI storage, and cloud solutions. If you're looking for that secure, ransomware-proof storage, including air-gapped and immutable options, reach out to their team at sales@stonefly.com to schedule a demo.